A terrible crime happened inside the Lululemon store on Bethesda Avenue Friday night.
There's two people. One person seems dead and the other person is breathing.
They made me move her car. I know where her car is.
Nobody in the world is going to believe this story. No one.
Considered to be an opulent, safe city, Bethesda, Maryland does not see its fair share of crime compared to other cities. In fact, Bethesda's crime rate is 61% lower than the national average. So why are we here? In the early morning of March 12, 2011, the manager of a luxury sportswear store, known as Lululemon Athletica, takes her keys out to open up the door and start the workday. When she goes to turn the key, though, she realizes that the door is already unlocked. Nervous, the manager steps inside the store. She is able to see clothes thrown about and a mannequin broken apart on the floor. She runs out of the store onto the street, too afraid to go further. This is when she makes her first 911 call.
Montgomery County 911, what is the emergency?
I'm opening up my Lululemon store and the door was completely open and I hear someone moaning in the back and it looks like it's been vandalized and I'm just really scared to go in.
After making the first call, a man waiting for the Apple store right next door to open notices the manager is in distress and walks over to make sure she is okay. She tells him what she saw, and the man decides to go into the store and look around, in case there is someone that needs help. The manager cautiously follows behind. Looking around, they see the cash registers have been emptied and receipts are thrown about. Going farther into the store, they start to see blood everywhere. It looks like there was a physical struggle, and someone's body has been dragged across the floor.
911, what is the emergency?
Hi, yes, I just called 911 to come. There's two people. One person seems dead and the other person is breathing. The door was open this morning. I think one of my managers came in to open it. Someone's tied her up. She's still breathing. Oh my God.
This time, more police are on the way as well as an ambulance. When the police arrive, the scene is more than they could have even imagined. A maze of bloody shoe prints, definite signs of a struggle, empty cash registers, and a non-survivable amount of blood pooled all over the stockroom. Looking around more, they find a female in the back corner of the storage room, undoubtedly deceased. They also discover another female tied up in the restroom. Thankfully, she is alive. The survivor, Brittany Norwood, is a 29-year-old former athlete and was working the other night, on March 11th. The deceased victim, Jayna Murray, was 30 years old and was pursuing 2 master's degrees at the time of her death. The 2 girls were closing the store together the night of the 11th. While Brittany is rushed to the hospital, police look for any clues that could be of help right away. Unfortunately, the store does not have CCTV. They do, however, find multiple tools that seem to have been used as weapons against the victims, as well as bloody shoe prints all around the stockroom. Still, there is so much blood and a mess of store supplies that it is going to take a while to process it all. Finding out that Brittany is in a stable condition, a detective goes to the hospital to get an immediate statement.
We actually left at about 9:45. We left the store. And I got to the metro and actually realized I didn't have my wallet. I called her and let her know I didn't have my wallet.
Brittany described one man as being around 6 feet tall, and the other as being 5'5", both wearing all black and had masks on with the eyes cut out.
It was so much blood. from her. He was lying. I was dirty anyway. He told me if I didn't shut up and stop moving, he'd make sure, like, they never had kids again.
Brittany's story matches all the evidence they found, but there is one thing that bothers them at this moment. The detectives notice that Jayna's car is nowhere to be found, even though she would have parked right in front of the store, as it would have been a quick in and out. They decide to check the surrounding stores, seeing if there were any witnesses or CCTV that could possibly show the suspects or what happened with Jayna's car. They are unable to find CCTV facing the street, but do find it at the Apple store next door, one showing the inside of the store and the other facing the walkway outside, right near Lululemon. They look through the footage immediately. Looking inside the Apple store at the exact time they suspect the crime to take place, they can actually see the Apple employees reacting to some noise that is coming from the wall they share with Lululemon. The employees seem to be hearing something that is loud enough to hear through the whole store. Now looking at the CCTV of outside, they suddenly spot something that will fit Brittany's story perfectly. Two men fitting the descriptions Brittany gave, and they are walking away from the store at the exact time of the crime. Worried that these men may strike again, a detective stakes out around the storefronts, waiting to see if the men show up. While a detective acts as a lookout, another checks on the autopsy of Jayna Murray. Looking through the autopsy report, they find that Jayna had been stabbed over 330 times, mostly to the face and neck. They also were able to see that multiple different weapons were used during the attack, but unusually all of the weapons used were found to have come from the store. This means the suspects did not have any weapons with them, which makes the detectives question why two men who seemed to have been there to just rob the store without any weapons would go through the time and trouble to beat and sexually assault the two victims, when most robbers want to get in and out as quickly as possible. They also are curious why Jayna was so brutally murdered, and Brittany walked away with only superficial injuries. Police decide to glance back at all of the evidence and realize that what was found does not actually match Brittany's story. Things start to unfold even more when the detective staking out the stores sees two men that look exactly like the men in the CCTV footage, even walking the same path. The detective stops the two men and shows them the CCTV footage. They admit it was them and that they both had just gotten off of work and were walking together, since both live in the same direction. Their alibis are confirmed, and the footage is no longer a validated piece of evidence they can use. That is not all. There's a lot more that does not add up. The Apple employees that heard the whole thing were interviewed, and it was found that they only heard two females arguing. There were no male voices. The hospital also informed the detectives that a rape kit was performed on Brittany and came back negative, and the scratches found on her body seemed to be self-inflicted. With everything not adding up, they decide to start over and take a fresh look at the case. Looking at the bloody shoe prints throughout the back room of the store, they realize that there is only one male shoe print found, not two. And the second set of shoe prints is from the shoes that are confirmed to be Brittany's. Also, the prints are oddly spaced and seem to be going in circles. Not only that, but none of the bloody shoe prints actually leave the store. They decide to look around the store, at every pair of shoes and piece of clothing. Soon, a men's size 14 shoe that matched the pattern of the bloody shoe prints all over the floor was discovered. The shoes were part of the store's stock, which means that someone did not walk in with them. Looking at the bottom of the shoes, they noticed traces of blood and signs that someone tried to clean them. They also note that the way Brittany was found is an unusual position, and the zip ties around her wrists were so loose that she could have easily gotten free from them. Not only that, the zip ties were found to be taken from a box in the store, and teeth marks on them suggested that Brittany had tied herself up, using her teeth to tighten the zip ties. How would the two robbers she talked about come into the store without any weapons or materials, but knew exactly where everything was located in the staff-only area in the back? Since Brittany was released from the hospital, police bring her in for DNA samples and an interview, as she is now their prime suspect.
Explain to you guys how that night played out. Prior to him sexually assaulting me and zip tying me, they made me move her car.
Okay.
I know where her car is. And they seemed to know where it was, where she was parked.
Okay.
They asked, they said, where are her keys? I have no idea. One of them punched me in my head and made me look through her coat and her bag for them. When I finally found them, they said if I was to pass to anyone and open my mouth, I can consider myself dead. And that one of them would be watching the entire time. And I honestly don't remember the exact lot, but they said to, like, I don't know, like cross, it's almost like on the other side of Wisconsin or something.
Okay.
From that street. I remember seeing a cop and I was just too scared to even flag him down, do anything.
What Brittany doesn't know is that police have already found Jayna's car. After realizing that Jayna's car was missing, police searched the city. Thankfully, one cop says he saw the car that night, remembering it because of the Texas license plates. He noticed that there was a female in the front seat, but could not see much else except that she parked the car in a lot with the car still running and lights on for over an hour. A couple hours later, he sees the car still parked in the same spot, this time with no one inside. Now knowing that the car he saw has the same description as Jayna's, the police officer goes back to the parking lot he saw the car in. Thankfully, it's still there. They take the car into forensics and begin to search for evidence. Right away, they find blood around the driver's seat, as well as a bloody hat on the floor. Coincidentally, the location of the blood in the hat is the exact same as where Brittany was injured. And testing the blood from the car, it's confirmed to be Brittany's. Detectives believe she moved the car away from the store so that her boss, who actually lives in an apartment right across the street from the store, would not look out and see the car. Detectives try to get Brittany to talk.
Brittany, comes a point sometimes when we have to break down and get everything off of our chests. You gotta tell us what really happened.
I'm telling you.
Okay, because I know what really happened.
I told you what really happened.
Now, what you've done is you've concocted an incredible story that doesn't make any doggone sense.
No.
With the injuries that you have, they're self-inflicted. Yeah, they're self-inflicted. You did this to yourself. It's incredible that you want me or anyone to believe that you're lying like this overnight, haven't moved, okay? That's posed.
A crime analyst even notes that the direction her blood flows down her face does not match her statement of lying down on the ground the whole night. And the blood next to her on the bathroom floor wasn't even hers.
Nobody in the world is going to believe this story. No one. He doesn't believe it. My boss doesn't believe it. When I tell your brother and your sister, they ain't gonna believe it. And your mother and your father, they're gonna say, bullshit.
Not getting her to speak the truth, detectives decide to bring her siblings into the interrogation room. knowing they already have enough evidence needed to arrest Brittany.
Listen, I don't know if I can let you go. You tell me right now. Did you do it? I just want to go for it. I'm not going to let you go. But you need to tell me so I know how to talk to these guys. Because if you did, we have to get you a lawyer to defend you. And it's going to be a media storm. You need to tell me right now if you did.
Brittany gives a roundabout confession to her brother, both of them not knowing that a camera is filming them. The shoe prints, self-inflicted injuries, car, Apple employee statements, weapons used, and the fact the way Brittany was found, as well as her confession. Detectives are comfortable with the amount of evidence they have now to arrest Brittany Norwood with the murder of Jayna Murray. When trying to figure out why she would commit such a brutal crime, they discover that Brittany had a repeated struggle with kleptomania, often stealing from friends and colleagues, as well as even breaking into her ex-boyfriend's house to steal jewelry and money. The Lululemon employees were suspicious of Brittany. Sure, they saw her stealing from the store. Jayna knew of this and decided to confront Brittany, asking to look into her purse. She finds a pair of unpurchased leggings in the purse, and Brittany tells Jayna she can tell their boss if she really wants to. After they lock up the store and go their separate ways, Jayna calls the manager to tell her what she found, which is how we know that Brittany did steal from the store. While Brittany is walking to the bus station, she makes the decision to call Jayna and make up a lie that she left her wallet at the store and needs Jayna to go back and unlock the door. When they both arrive at the store, they go inside and end up arguing. Brittany then goes on to stab Jayna over 330 times, as well as beats her with anything she can grab. Even when Jayna is no longer fighting back, Brittany brutally murdered Jayna because she didn't want people knowing she stole a pair of leggings.